Bola Tinubu is a known drug lord. I went there. Another person isn't telling me. You see the picture on the screen. I took that picture. If you move to the right, you're going to see me in that picture. Bola Tinubu is a known drug lord. He has this man who's meant to be the Minister of Labor and Productivity, or rather say on productivity, who went on TV to try to hoodwink Nigerians, telling them that the charge against Bola Tinubu was just for tax, that all he paid was tax, that it had nothing to do with drugs. That is a big lie. I have the document here. Nigerians can see it. I hope you can see it on the screen here. I have the document here. It actually says, and if you look at it, it says docket. A docket, and as I'm speaking, your viewers can go on Google and fact check me. A docket is used for a criminal pending. A criminal pending. So you don't use a docket for a civil matter. And then right on the very first paragraph on this docket, it says that this is a forfeiture action under section under 21 USC section 881. USC is the United States Criminal Code. I will set it again. USC is the United States Criminal Code. Now, if you're watching at home, you can go on Google and you can fact check me. The United States Criminal Code is Title 18, USC, United States Criminal Code. And I'm going to read what section 881 of the USC, the Criminal Code, says. Now, this is it. I'm reading it. Nigerians can see it here. This is what I'm reading. It says, the following shall be subject to forfeiture to the United States, and no property rights shall exist in them. All monies, negotiable instruments, securities, or other things of value furnished or intended to be furnished by any person in exchange for a controlled substance or listed chemical in violation of this subchapter, all proceeds traceable to such an exchange, and all monies, negotiable instruments, and securities used or intended to be used to facilitate any violation of this subchapter. The word used there is controlled substances. Now, for Nigerians who may not understand this, a controlled substance are what they call narcotics, hard drugs. In this case, it was white heroin. Bola Tinubu was involved in a white heroin cartel. We know, and he was the treasurer of that cartel. And then he put some monies into an account. He was working for Mobile. And as he was working for Mobile, his salary was $2,400. Yet he paid in a total of $1.4 million into several accounts. Now, he was asked to explain how he got those monies. He could not explain how he got those monies. So one of those accounts, the monies in there, $460,000, it was forfeited to the United States government. It was not taxed. Now, there is only one agency of the United States government that has been given the authority to take forfeited amount, and that is the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service. If you look at the case of the U.S. state, the state versus Ishmael Zambalda, who was the leader of the Sinaloa drug cartel, the exact same language that was used in this docket is the exact same language that was used for that man, Ishmael Zambalda. And if you're watching me, you can Google it. That it says that you agree to forfeit $5 million to the United States. Word for word with what was used for Bola Tinubu. The only difference is the amount. Bola Tinubu forfeited $460,000. Ishmael Zambalda forfeited $5 million. But the source of the money came from the same place, drugs.
Reno Omokri, the table shaker here. And I've got a question for Bola Tinubu. Very direct, simple question. Sir, were you linked to a heroin drug forfeiture case in the United States, specifically in Chicago between the years 1992 and 1993? It's very simple. Yes or no? Because I challenge you to deny it or take me to court, because I do know for a fact that you were linked to such a case. We've got the court documents. And the question to Nigerians is this: can we afford to be led by a man with a known drug past? Heroin of all drugs, one of the most damaging drugs. Think about how such a man will be vulnerable to foreign intelligence services, to mafia crime families and other organized crime criminal organizations. We cannot afford to have such a vulnerable president. So it's a question we have to ask ourselves. Look at the man. Can he pass a drug test if it's given to him by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency? So these are questions, pertinent questions that we need to ask, because he's not contesting to be the governor or president of his father's compound. He's contesting to be your president, to be my president, and we have the right to ask these pertinent questions because we are all involved. So Bola Tinubu, again, were you linked with a heroin drug forfeiture case in the United States in Chicago between the years 1992 and 1993? Very simple question. Yesterday, I did a video calling on Bola Tinubu to answer a simple question, just yes or no. Are you a drug lord? Because we've got documents showing that you were involved in a heroin cartel in Chicago between the years of 1991 and 1993. So it's a very, very simple question. We've got the documents showing that you forfeited almost $500,000 to the US government, and I have a master's in law, and if you've read law, you know that when you forfeit, it's almost like a conviction, because what you're saying is that, look, yes, I'm guilty, but I don't want to go all the way to trial, take what you want and then leave me alone. And so we need to ask this question, Bola Tinubu, were you a heroin drug lord? Because we don't want a person who is connected to drugs being our president. If you were not contesting to be president of Nigeria, I wouldn't be doing this video. It's a very, very simple question. Some people reached out to me, I got threats, which I'm going to ignore, but well, many people reached out to me and said, look, leave this matter, it's in the past. Why should I leave this matter? How do you know it's in the past? Look at the kind of cartel behavior that Bola Tinubu has been exhibiting since 1999. Everybody who wants to be anything from governor to commissioner to other positions in Lagos have to come through him. That is a typical cartel behavior.
Recently, Bola Tinubu's spokesman, a man by the name of Kehinde Bamigbeto, who was his chief press secretary while he was governor and an immediate past commissioner for information in Lagos State, responded to my revelations about Bola Tinubu's drug past, and he wrote that the fact that Bola Tinubu is able to go in and out of the United States is proof that Bola Tinubu has nothing to hide. Now, that's not true. He's just trying to play tricks on the minds of unsuspecting Nigerians. Bola Tinubu is a permanent resident holder, so that means he's a green card holder. He can go in and out of the United States even though he's been involved in a drug cartel. Even in Nigeria, we've got several prominent people. I know them. I don't want to mention their names, including the son of a former military head of state, who are in similar situations. They're able to go in and out of the United States. It is the section 212 paragraph 8 of the Immigration and Nationalization Act that deals on that. And if you study that, you can Google it, you can see that it doesn't apply to Bola Tinubu. So the fact that he goes in and out of the United States, it's not any proof that he's not a known drug lord. Bola Tinubu is a known drug lord. And if you read his response to me, Kehinde Bamigbeto, he did not deny that. It's a fact. And then he also said that, well, it was a forfeiture of assets, and if it's a forfeiture of assets, then Bola Tinubu is not a criminal. Listen, I'm going to read for you something on the website of the Department of Justice, and I'm going to put it in the description box of this video so you can watch it yourself. Now, I'm quoting, "Asset forfeiture is designed to deprive criminals," look at that word, criminals, "of the proceeds of their crimes." So when Bola Tinubu voluntarily agreed to an asset forfeiture judgment against him, which was a plea bargain. Incidentally, what happened is that the FBI had taken him to court, and then rather than go through a trial, he reached what they call a plea bargain, which is that he agreed with the United States Department of Justice, and then they settled. So part of the settlement was that he gave up $460,000 drug money to the government. So it's an asset forfeiture. He does not have the right to say that he was not convicted or is not a criminal. He is a criminal. And so that's what I'm trying to tell Nigerians. This has nothing to do. Nobody is paying me. Nobody is hyping me.
All right, thank you very much, Reno. You talk a lot about the mob, the huge mob on social media that come after people if you criticize Mr. Peter Obi. Yet, going through your timeline on social media, it is full of criticism of not just Mr. Peter Obi, of course, of the APC presidential candidate. So you have actually reading on a campaign of attacking the personality of the people running for government as opposed to facing the issues, as has been encouraged again and again. So sort of you're also guilty of what you accuse the mob that you talk about on social media. Why is it impossible for you to focus rather on your candidate that you're representing and the issues of what he wants to sort out, what he wants to address, rather than the personality or the person? You've called Peter Obi a liar, you've called Asiwaju a drug lord, and so many unprintable names you've spoken about with regards to candidates.
Well, that's not true. I mean, if you can tell me the unprintable names that I've said, please say it here. That is false, Ayo. I've not used any unprintable names.
Is drug lord a pleasant name? Is that something you can...
No. Please, can I respond to that?
Yeah.
Drug lord is not an unprintable name. If you are a drug lord, first and foremost, if you are a thief, it is not libel to say you are a thief. How am I going to tell you that if you are a thief, I'll come and meet you and say, oh, you are a nice person who diplomatically likes to take things that do not belong to you? No, you are a thief. Bola Tinubu is a non-drug lord. It's not an unprintable word. What is the difference between Bola Tinubu and Hush Puppy? What's the difference? What is the source of Hush Puppy's income? You don't know. You think it's illegal, it's corrupt. Okay, now I'm asking you this. What is the source of Bola Tinubu's income? What is the source of his income? You know, if Hush Puppy were to have been in Nigeria, most likely he would have been an APC politician. Because in APC, dishonesty thrives in APC. Look, I'll give you an example now. The APC today named Governor Umar Ganduje of Kano State a man caught on camera collecting bribes. This is not like a rumor or a gossip or whatever. He was caught on camera collecting bribes. I've analyzed that video. I sent it to a lab. That image is accurate. And then you now appoint this man to be to head the Edo State election committee of the APC. Now you think about it. Just think about it. You see, I saw pictures, or rather a video of Hush Puppy shopping in a mall in Dubai, and then you had a man with a Versace bag following him about. Now, the current vice president of Nigeria, Oshibajo, actually played that role for Bola Tinubu. Because if you Google, you will see pictures of him, holding Bola Tinubu's phone, and some other people holding Bola Tinubu's bag, walking behind him when he came back from I think the UK or somewhere abroad.
Heroin, drugs, heroin, drugs. Scammer, thief, criminal.